This video is about what you should do at Indiana Dunes National Park. Here's a map of the park. Everything in green is part of the national park. There are several different locations that are a part of this park. There's hiking and beaches and just a bunch of different things that you can do. I actually grew up in this area and I still have not seen everything. I haven't been on every trail, but these are the best places that I recommend and the spots that I recommend you avoid. This is what I'm going to cover in this video. The Bailey Shelburne Farm, where there's a bunch of trails and historical houses. Portage Lakefront and Riverwalk. The Cowles Bog Trails. Camel Beach. Central Beach. Porter Beach. West Beach. And Lakeview Beach. First off, I recommend that you visit the Visitor Center, which has a gift shop and a bunch of educational, informative stuff. First off, I'm going to talk about the Portage Lakefront and Riverwalk. This is just like a building where you can come sit and eat at a picnic table. There's a little beach and a break wall that you can walk out on. There's really short paths that are not even really trails, but just like a paved pathway, and then there's some spots that you can fish. And I would say that this is probably my least favorite place to come. So I don't really recommend coming here unless you are wanting to fish or just get a really quick view of the lake, just because the water comes out of the marina area and the beach here is probably the least clean out of all the other spots in the park. This is a nice place to come if you're just wanting to come for sunset or sunrise. Next, I'm going to talk about Camel Beach. This is a pretty nice beach. There's a really big parking lot, but you do have to walk pretty far to get down to the beach. And I know of at least one trail here. I haven't done it, but I heard, according to the National Park website, that it is a really diverse trail. But dogs are allowed at this beach, and they're actually allowed at almost every beach here. And then if you drive north a little bit, on the local road right near the beach, there's another parking lot. I'm not sure if this beach has a different name, but it's connected to Camel Beach. And this beach is nice because the parking lot is a lot closer to the beach, so you don't have to walk as far. Especially when it's hot out, it is kind of exhausting walking in the heat. But the thing about these beaches is that there's a lot of rocks, and if you're wanting a nice sandy beach, it can be kind of annoying to have to walk on the rocks, and then once you get into the water, you have to walk across the rocks, and sometimes it can be painful. And if you do come to any of these beaches, please remember to bring everything with you when you leave, all of your toys and your garbage, and don't take anything home with you that's natural, and make sure you pick up after your dog. But these are the beaches that you can see the historical houses at. There's this pink one that's right on the water, and then across the street there are a few other ones. And this is Lakeview Beach. It has another little parking area. There's a few spots right along the shoreline. There's not a ton of parking, but it is definitely the shortest walk of all three beaches. And you can walk either to the left or the right. I think to the right it might technically be a neighborhood, but to the left, I know you can definitely go over there, and it is a bit more rocky, but it's definitely really pretty, and there's a lot of shade. There's facilities like a bathroom and all of that stuff. And this is the Cowles Bog Trail area. There are a few different trails here that you can hike. You turn left onto Mineral Springs, and then right before you hit Dune Acres, the neighborhood, you turn right into an unpaved road, and that's where the parking lot is. And the trails here have wetlands, and you can hike a few miles down to this beach. This is Porter Beach, and it's a really nice sandy beach. It's definitely good for swimming, and there's a parking lot and bathrooms and a dune that you can climb up. Just be careful because there is broken glass on the sand dunes sometimes, but I think it's one of the nicest beaches for just like going to a nice sandy beach, which has a gradual sandbar, so it's not too deep, but definitely be careful of rip currents and waves whenever you're here because that can definitely be dangerous. People do drown every year. And this beach is called Miller Beach. It has the Dune Succession Trail and it has a lot of stairs, so just keep that in mind if you're planning to do this trail. But it's really beautiful. You get a really good view of the lake and all the sand dunes. And basically, most of the trail you're walking on a boardwalk, and it's pretty cool. I think this is definitely one of the best trails in the Indiana Dunes National Park. I honestly haven't been to this beach that many times just because it's kind of far from where I grew up, so I'm not super familiar with this area and this beach, but I know a lot of people come here frequently and I've heard really good things about it, so you might want to look more into this beach just because I think it's a pretty good place to visit. And Lake Street Beach is just south of this beach. It's another beach you can go to. I'm not really that familiar with it, but I've heard it's really nice. And this is Bailey Homestead. I've also heard it called Bailey Shellberg Farm. I'm not sure the exact name of it, but it's a really old farm that is just like a historical spot that you can come to and visit. There's a lot of farm animals that still live here, and from time to time they'll be out and you can come see them. And they'll have things like reenactments here at times, and the Maple Syrup Festival, where you can learn about the process of making maple syrup. And some of these houses you can actually tour, but I believe some of them are closed right now. I recommend checking on the National Park website before you decide to come here to do any of those things. And aside from that, there's just a bunch of trails. There's a lot of trails that kind of weave all over like this area. Those are some wild raspberries. But anyway, there's also a really old cemetery that you can visit, which I didn't get a clip of, but it's pretty cool. This is one of the old houses from the original family that lived here, and there's also a gift shop here. And then we have Central Beach and Mount Baldy. I don't have any clips of Mount Baldy because it's been closed for a long time. I heard that it's opened in some spots. I think you can visit the beach there, but the sand dune you can only do a tour of, I think. But this is Central Beach and it is a pretty nice beach, but the water can be pretty deep and the parking lot is also pretty limited as well. The walk down to the beach from the parking lot is kind of far, but in general I like this beach a lot. And that is the end of my video. That's all I have. But if you're planning to visit this park, I definitely recommend to keep in mind the rip currents and water safety because a lot of these beaches don't have lifeguards. And like I said, people do drown every single year. So it can definitely be dangerous if there are waves and you're not a great swimmer or if you don't have a lot of experience in the water, then I definitely recommend just not going in. And if you're one of those people wondering why this is a national park, just keep in mind that it is actually the fourth most biologically diverse national park in the country, and it needs to be protected. And also, Lake Michigan is one of the largest lakes in the world. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully, you got something out of it. And please subscribe to my channel.